It was November 22nd, 1963, and the air in Dallas was thick with anticipation. President John F. Kennedy's motorcade was a spectacle of American optimism, a beacon of hope in the Cold War's shadow. The streets were lined with people, their cheers a cacophony of love and support for their charismatic leader. But beneath that festive veneer, a tragedy was brewing, one that would forever alter the course of history. As the motorcade made its way through Dealey Plaza, the sun glinted off the polished chrome of the presidential limousine, casting reflections across the faces of the crowd. Unseen, from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository, Lee Harvey Oswald watched, his heart filled with a twisted sense of purpose. He had planned meticulously, his rifle ready to execute what he believed was a necessary act. The first shot rang out, a crack that sliced through the air like a whip. It struck President Kennedy, not with the fatal force of an assassin, but as a prelude to chaos. The president clutched at his neck, a look of shock replacing his usual confident smile. The crowd, initially confused, erupted into screams as the reality of the situation dawned upon them. In the follow-up car, panic ensued. Secret Service agents, trained for this exact moment, reacted with the speed of well-oiled machines. Among them was George Hickey, a relatively new agent with experience in handling firearms, but not in the heat of such an unprecedented crisis. His hands were on his M16 rifle, a weapon not standard for Secret Service detail, but brought along due to recent intelligence suggesting potential threats. As Oswald fired his second shot, the atmosphere in the follow-up car turned chaotic. Agents were scrambling, some throwing themselves over the presidential car, others reaching for their weapons. Hickey, in a moment of sheer confusion, lost his balance. His finger, tense and trembling, inadvertently pressed against the trigger of his M16. The rifle discharged with a deafening roar, a sound almost indistinguishable from Oswald's gunfire. But this shot was different, born not of malice, but of mistake. The bullet, a high-velocity projectile meant for protection, became the harbinger of death. It flew true and fast, finding its mark in the skull of President John Kennedy. The president slumped forward, his life extinguished in an instant, his blood painting the inside of the car in hues of tragedy. The nation watched in horror as their leader, the symbol of American progress, was taken from them by what was meant to be his shield. In the immediate aftermath, as the motorcade rushed towards Parkland Hospital, the Secret Service was in disarray. Orders were barked, communications scrambled. Hickey, now realizing the gravity of his accidental action, was whisked away from the scene, his involvement buried under layers of official silence. Reports were altered, evidence was possibly destroyed, and the narrative was controlled with an iron grip. The Warren Commission, tasked with investigating the assassination, concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, firing all the shots from the book depository. This narrative was accepted by many, but whispers of another truth persisted. How could one man with a rifle have caused such precision in death, especially when the fatal shot seemed to come from a different direction? Decades later, Howard Donahue, a respected ballistics expert, began to piece together a different puzzle. His research led him to the theory that the fatal shot was not from Oswald's rifle, but from a Secret Service agent's M16. Donahue's findings suggested a different kind of bullet was used, one not consistent with Oswald's Mannlicher Carcano. Witnesses, long silent or forgotten, came forward with stories of seeing an agent with an M16 in the back of the car, his movements frantic during the shooting. These testimonies painted a picture of an accidental shot, a bullet fired in panic, not in assassination. The Secret Service, once the guardians of the president, now guarded a secret. Their actions after the assassination suggested a cover-up, from the destruction of records to the suppression of any narrative that didn't fit the lone gunman's story. The theory of mortal error did not just challenge the official account. It posed questions about human error in moments of crisis. about the thin line between protection and destruction. It suggested that sometimes the greatest threats come from those sworn to protect us. America mourned its president, but beneath that collective grief lay a vein of guilt. What if protection had turned into the instrument of death? What if the very mechanisms of security were flawed? The nation grappled with these questions, each answer more unsettling than the last. The theory remained on the fringes of public discourse, often dismissed as conspiracy or speculation. Yet, those who delved deeper found a narrative too compelling to ignore, one where the truth was obscured by a veil of national security and institutional shame. As years passed, Kennedy's legacy grew, transcended by his untimely death. Yet the mortal error theory lingered, a whisper in the halls of history, suggesting that sometimes the truth is not what we are told, but what we dare to investigate. The story of that day in Dallas is one of many layers, each peeling back to reveal more questions. Was it Oswald's bullet or Hickey's that ended a presidency? The answer might never be known with certainty, but the theory of mortal error invites us to look beyond the official story, to see the human errors that can shift the course of history. Today, Dealey Plaza stands as both a memorial and a question mark, a place where history was both made and possibly obscured. Visitors walk its paths, some seeing the end of innocence, others the beginning of a mystery that might never be fully solved. The quest for truth doesn't end with official reports or closed investigations. It lives in the minds of those who refuse to accept simple answers. The mortal error theory is not just about one shot. It's about understanding the complexities of truth, the fragility of moments, and the profound impact of human error. As America reflects on its history, the tale of mortal error serves as a reminder of the fragility of moments, the weight of responsibility, and the enduring quest for truth. It's a narrative that compels us to look closer, to question, and to remember that sometimes the most dangerous weapon is the one we least expect. The story of John F. Kennedy's assassination is not just one of tragedy, but of human fallibility, of moments where history could have taken a different turn. It's a story that, even after thousands of words, leaves us pondering, searching in the shadows of Dealey Plaza for the echoes of a bullet that changed the world. In this narrative, we see not just an assassination, but a complex tapestry of events, where every action, every decision, and every accidental shot weaves a story far more nuanced than history books might tell. The mortal error isn't just about a bullet. It's about the human condition, the weight of responsibility, and the endless pursuit of truth in a world where shadows often hide more than they reveal.